thinking about that kind of diverse perspectives and diverse angles on things, and diverse sets of influences, that is such a key. And it's possible to kind of cultivate this. This is actually a story we don't tell in the book, but I thought it was kind of relevant in the context of Rotman. Companies have kind of sought this sort of surprising connection out deliberately, right? So Apple, when Apple was designing the early plans for the retail stores, you remember what this was like. Some of you lived through this. A lot of people thought when Apple announced they were going to do stores in shopping malls in downtown areas, a lot of op-eds were written saying this is a joke. Apple's not going to be able to do this. What do they know about retail? The normal way you would do this as a company is you would say, okay, what's our vertical? We're a consumer electronics store. We're selling Macs and iPods. This was before the iPhone. So we should look at our direct competitors and figure out what they're doing and try and do it incrementally a little bit better, right? So I guess we got to go study Best Buy, probably, and I guess Radio Shack. Do we have to study Radio Shack? The Shack is in their name, right there. That's a sign something is wrong. We should not call it the Apple Shack, for instance. But Apple wanted to, reinvent the store experience. They wanted to create a store that was totally unlike any other store you'd been to. That store was so fun to go to that people would just go, even if they didn't want to buy anything, just to hang out, right? This was their kind of goal. And so they decided to study something completely different, not from their field, but to go and look at a completely different field. And so they went and they studied high-end hotels, 5-star hotels. And they actually sent their employees to take the Ritz-Carlton training program, a bunch of them, to take the Ritz-Carlton training program to figure out, like, what is the secret sauce? When you go to a 5-star hotel, what is it about that experience that people just love, that they're so thrilled when they can stay at one of these? And one of the things that they came back with is the concierge. They're like, the concierge is something people just love. They're at a 5-star hotel. They go to the concierge and whatever. Like, I want to take a hot air balloon ride over Toronto right now, and the concierge is like, I'm on it, and so what they said very deliberately is, okay, so what is the equivalent of a high-end hotel concierge in a consumer electronics store? And that, of course, you've already guessed, is the Genius Bar, right? The Genius Bar is, in a sense, a port from the hotel service industry over into consumer electronics retailing, modified slightly for the kind of purposes of consumer electronics. And the rest of this story, this is now the most profitable by square foot retail environment on the planet, and the Genius Bar is so popular that you have to make a reservation like 3 months in advance to see these people. But it's precisely because they looked somewhere else for inspiration. Right? I sometimes describe this as like, this is the argument against like reading your own industry trade publications. Like, read another industry's trade publications. That's where the interesting idea is going to get kind of borrowed and ported over and turned into something new.